Thank you, Dr. West, for that generous introduction. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. How are we doing? Good. I guess, first of all, we should thank Katrina as how much hard work she's put into this event. Everything is fantastic. And I say that not only as a speaker today, but also as a professional executive director of many nonprofits. So I pay attention to little things like the signage and the table cards. Perfect. And the food is also excellent, so thank you for that. The best thing about today is that it's a tea and you get to drink champagne. 9 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was 58 years old when she was diagnosed. Sorry, I'm doing this because the mic is crooked, so allow me to just... Which is all fine, except I'll get a creak in my neck. So much better. Everyone can hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, great. And at the time, we knew very little about the disease. I knew that my one and only maternal aunt had been diagnosed 12 years prior to that in Iran. That's where we're from. She still lives there. Her breast cancer was what we call estrogen positive. So one of the gatekeepers to the mitosis of her cancer cells, or division of her cancer cells, was estrogen. And so she was treating her cancer with drugs that we call estrogen blockers. The interesting thing is that the kind of breast cancer that my mom had, her sister, was not estrogen positive. It was a completely different kind of breast cancer. My mom battled for 4 years. She was diagnosed as stage 1. She only had a single lump in her breast when she was diagnosed. She went in for a routine lumpectomy. Back in the day, the trend was they would do the surgery first and then the chemo later, especially when the patient presented the way my mom did, which we're only talking about a lump. And the surgeon told us he got everything. The lump went to biopsy, came back, and unfortunately the margins were not clean, which means he didn't get a really perfect cut around the tumor. So there's a tiny speck left, but they assured us that it would go away with chemo. They refused to do a second surgery, and 4 years later I lost my mom. After that, of course, or during her battle, my brother and I were both vigilant. I'm an avid reader. I read Dr. Susan Love's breast cancer book, all 562 pages of it. I'm an attorney by training, so that wasn't too hard. And so we wanted to be prepared. We wanted to know when we go to the oncologist, what to ask, what to expect, what's the right question. We did get some second opinions, but I will say we didn't get a meaningful second opinion. And of course, if there's anything I regret, that it's that decision. She was part of a managed care health system, and so it was a little bit different. And I think I was a brand new practicing lawyer, so money was an issue for us back then. After I lost my mom, I went to the breast cancer center in Hope, and I said, okay, I've got to have the gene. I mean, come on, 2 sisters, they both have cancer. I'm the one and only daughter. You got to test me for the gene. And that was in the beginning when we just had found out that there was even one identifiable gene. And I'm sure all of you know, for the benefit of perhaps the younger audience, there are many different kinds of breast cancer. And not all kinds of breast cancer are genetic, and even there might be some kinds that are genetic, but we haven't necessarily identified the gene yet. So it's a little bit more complicated than you either have it or you don't. Hope tested me, and I was so relieved to find out that I was negative. I didn't have the breast cancer gene. 8 years later, I felt a lump in my breast after I married my beautiful, lovely husband, who's here in the audience. Let's give him a round of applause. It's been such a journey. For all my dear family, who's all living, sitting at table 7, my father, my stepmom, my beautiful mother-in-law, my aunties, I would not have been here without them. I'm not kidding when I tell you it takes a village. So I felt a lump. I did the routine thing. I went and got the mammogram, and then the gel and the sonogram, and I go, it's just a cyst. Okay, fine, no problem. Came home. A year later, I felt another breast, because I was, or I thought I was, aware. I read the Susan Love book. I got tested for the gene. I used to self-exam in addition to the fondling my husband would do from time to time. You know, I was doing everything right, or I thought I was. You know, it's all about saving the boobies. And the second time, I had a really funny feeling. You know, I just had this kind of, you know, we're women. We've got a third eye. It's like an intuitive thing. You know, we're mothers. God gives us that. You know, it's. And sure enough, again, they said no. Everything is so perfectly round. That, you know, they look so cystic. There's nothing in there. But there was one on the surface, and I went to a breast surgeon, a different breast surgeon, and he said, "Oh, Shahrzad, this is an infected milk duct." You know, but you know, given your history, let's just biopsy it anyway. And he biopsied it, and it came back positive. And when I was having the biopsy done, the surgeon who was doing the biopsy said, I'm seeing a couple of lymph nodes here, and I do not like the way that they look. Let me biopsy those two. And I said, sure, go for it. Other arm. So he biopsied those two. Sure, I was waiting by the phone. My friends, my family were just waiting. Less than 24 hours later, I got a phone call from Dr. Deck, who was at the time my breast surgeon. And he said, Shahrzad, I'm very sorry to tell you, but you have breast cancer. And you have it in your lymph nodes as well. And it's very aggressive. So let's just to rule out, you know, that it's not anywhere else, let's have a PET scan. Let's scan your whole body. And I said, okay, let's go. And you know, I have to tell you, it was obviously disappointing to find out at age 41, yeah, I'm 42 now, it's been a year. June 2nd, it'll be a year, that I had breast cancer, but you know, I wasn't that surprised. Where I was surprised was after I got the PET scan, my husband and I were rushed to an oncologist across the street from Saddleback Memorial Center. The gentleman who was all friendly and happy and smiling with me, the doctor, the radiologist, afterwards disappeared, was not available to talk to me. We were rushed out of there. The results were rushed over to this oncologist that I had not picked. My breast surgeon, Dr. Deck, or the gentleman who was going to perform the surgery, had picked. And sure enough, we waited and waited and waited. So it's 6:45 in the afternoon. I couldn't even believe a medical office was open that late, you know. waiting. In once this, God bless his soul, young, Asian, kind, handsome doctor with the most devastated look on his face. And he's sitting there asking me history. Like, well, how long, and blah, blah, blah. And my husband and I are just sitting there going, can we just fast forward? I know the radiologist sent you the result. Can you please tell me, is it anywhere else in the body? I had 27 tumors in my body, 26 in my bones. I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. There is no stage 5. 6 days later, after we got over the initial shock, called all our friends and family and, you know, decided that we're not going to go down without a fight. Our son and daughter, our twins, were 4 then. They just turned 5. We called everybody we knew. New York, Canada. Just said, money's no object. Just give us names. Who's the best? Who's the best? And we actually made an Excel spreadsheet and cross-referenced all the names to see what name keeps coming up. And sure enough, 3 different sources recommended Dr. Lake and Dr. West. That being said, me being the type A, thorough, kind of overachiever that I've always tried to be, I still had 2 other oncologists that I also wanted to recommend. One was the chair of Hoag and also a family friend, and the other is Dr. Talieh, a Harvard graduate, who was a beautiful woman and I really bonded with. And I almost was going to go with her. She was the one I interviewed before Dr. Lake, because all of the books in her waiting room, the spiritual books, they were the kind of books that I would put in my waiting room if I was an oncologist. And I really clicked with this woman. I just found her to be so lovely. But let me tell you, let me rewind back to that first day, that first time that he said, you know, 27 tumors in the bones, pelvic, spine, rib. Now mind you, for the last 2 years, I've been having leg pain, back pain, rib pain, Advil, Advil, Advil. Oh, it's twins. I must have pushed them in Legoland too much. I must have overdone Disneyland. I must have, the diaper bag must have been too heavy. It's, the car seat, with double the kids, double the gear. It's like in, out, in, out. And I thought, I'm a mom. My children have never missed or been late for a pediatric appointment, but I missed my MRI last year. The study had recommended, the study that Hope Cancer Center, the risk assessment test that they did, had told me that I need to get mammograms twice a year because I'm so high risk. And this was from the age of 38 to MRIs once a year. And I was doing that. I only missed one MRI. And the reason I wasn't so nervous about that was because in the meantime, I had had 2 other additional ultrasounds and mammograms that I told you about, and they told me nothing was wrong. Had I trusted my gut, especially that second time, and gotten a second opinion, and said, you know what the heck, here's $1,000. Biopsy me anyway. What do we have to lose? It's an afternoon. I'm a working mom, my kids are never late to the doctor. My husband, I don't think, I love you honey, but has ever been late or missed a dental appointment or even a facial from time to time, I mean, the idea that I could be walking around 2 years with intense leg pain that would wake me up in the middle of the night. Went to the doctor and they said it's a cracked rib. I had rib pain, I went to another doctor. Long story short, I deep down inside knew that there was something wrong, but I didn't take the time to take care of myself because it just wasn't a priority. Because I wasn't a priority. And because I thought I was doing everything that I should be doing. So back to the first young, handsome gentleman oncologist who was white in the face, who had to break the news to me. I litigated for 13 years. I can be kind of aggressive when I need to be. So I started asking him, okay, bottom line, how long? How much? Oh, well, we really can't say, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he was no match for me. In 15 minutes, it was 2 to 4 years. He said, you have 2 to 4 years. My husband excused himself from the room and went and fell on the floor in the hallway. 6 days after that, we met Dr. Link when I was already 99% sure I was going to go with Dr. Tetiv. And I said, Dara, let's just be, thorough. And I met him, and he took a piece of paper and he started drawing the cells and the little doorways to the cells and what protein goes into the doorway that feeds the cells and how it breaks. And I used to sell skincare for Chanel back in the day when I was a college student, and I used to draw cells for my clients. So it was just really funny to me that he did that. And I got in the car and I said, you know what, Dara? It's the science that's going to save me. I have enough, I'm lucky enough, to have enough friends and family who love me, who are going to hold my hand through this. I have enough softy kindness around me. It's the science that's going to save me. This is the guy. This guy's my doctor. 7 days later, I got my first round of chemo. 6 sessions of chemo later, they were 3 weeks apart, 26 tumors were gone. 26 of 27. I didn't lose a strand of hair. Why? Because Dr. Link put me in a clinical trial. I had asked all of it's targeted therapy that I'm receiving, can you tell? I mean, I took care of my mom and my aunt, believe me. If I wasn't receiving this type of chemo, I might still have been here, but I guarantee you I wouldn't be standing here in heels. I'd probably be in a wheelchair. It's not, as the lady can attest, I apologize, I don't remember your name, and many of you, I'm sure, raise your hand if you're a survivor. Wow. It's not a joke, guys. Targeted chemo is not only my savior, but it's the exact thing that's going to make cancer like diabetes one day. This disease is no longer acute. It's not, this is something you can live with. This is something that you can actually have a good life with. After that, I continued. I just got, I think 8 days ago, my 17th round of chemo. Dr. Link got me into the clinical trial. He explained to me that this drug is called TDM1, and that it's targeted for the kind of breast cancer that I have, which is HER2 new positive. Previously, that was being managed by a drug called Herceptin, or the drug, I'm sorry, I'm not a physician, so if I make a mistake, please correct me. But seriously, if I do make a scientific error, please do correct me. So my cancer is HER2 new positive. So this drug is designed to, starve my cancer cells from what they feed on to multiply. And all of the cancer in my bones is gone. I only have a single tumor left in my left breast. I probably will have to be on some sort of suppression medication for the rest of my life. But hey, if it looks like this and it feels like this, I really don't care. I consider myself to be one of the luckiest people. Here's what I want to leave you with. What if I hadn't found Dr. Link? What if I had gone with the first oncologist? What if I didn't feel that original lump that started this whole thing? What if we thought it was an infected milk duct, and he gave me the choice, he said you can take it or leave it? What would have happened to me then? The 2 to 4 years that he quoted me was with medication, chemotherapy. I could have been dead 3-4 weeks after that. My husband and children could be standing in Pacific View Memorial today, instead of here. I am a JD with a computer who knows how to Google, internet, and read, and has friends in high places. And I got diagnosed at stage 4. I'm as aware, I thought, as they come. What I'm here to tell you is that the bar for awareness, if it was here, with the statistics we have in this room, it needs to be here. I want you all to take a look at the young lady sitting at that table in the back. You guys look beautiful. These are the women of tomorrow. They want to have families of their own. They want to have careers of their own. I want you to do me this favor today. Tell everyone you know. If something hurts, go to the doctor. Take a day off work. It's okay. If something in your gut tells you what your doctor is telling you isn't right, go see another one. If you don't have the money to do it, borrow it from a friend. Sell your wedding ring if you have to. Do it. Don't ignore the thing inside you. Tell our children and support as much as you can, as you've done today, and we do so much appreciate it. Organizations like Be Aware, who help education and funding and community outreach to pass the message along. Breast exams should start early. Mammograms should be yearly. Get a second opinion. Thank you so much for being here.